Well, I guess I do owe Spectrum a little bit of an apology. And why is that, you may be wondering? Well, they actually did talk about Alvin Braggs' insanity. And obviously, they could do a lot better. I mean, they could have a video regarding the shooting in Queens. They could have a video about what else is going on with Eric Adams and Kathy Hochul talking about homeless. But we're going to watch the video that Spectrum News had regarding Alvin Bragg being a mental case, because he certainly is being a mental case, thinking that he can just not prosecute as much. It's like he's part of the Stay Woke movement. So let's see how they cover this. I just want to make sure my volume is full so you can at least hear it. So there we go. We're good.
The new Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg told his office to no longer pursue sentences of life without parole. And in a memo on Monday, he also instructed staff to only pursue incarceration of more than 20 years in exceptional circumstances. And if a person arrested for the sale of drugs is acting as a low-level agent of a seller, they will avoid felonies and be offered diversion.
Well, we've seen
Oh
this
my
in the past.
goodness.
Not enforcing all of
Memo to not prosecute people resisting arrest for certain crimes encourages criminals to do just that.
My initial thought it's going to put not only the public in danger, but also the detectives and police officers that are out on the street in harm's way.
Yes, I'm in agreement. Who is this guy? I want to see who he is. Let me rewind back. Yeah, Paul DiGiacomo. Thank you. See, he's saying what I'm thinking. He's saying what I'm thinking. You know, aren't we all thinking that this is going to be dangerous for Manhattan? Alright, so let's see what this woman says. I think she's a public defender, and these public defenders do stay part of the Stay Woke movement.
Society.
DA Bragg is not asking for anything that is unheard of. These things are happening right next door, right across the river.
Alice Fontier with the Harlem-based free public defender provider Neighborhood Defender Services says the new Manhattan policies are similar to those in Brooklyn and the Bronx. She supports the change.
Well, thankfully, Melinda Katz is not doing any of this insanity in Queens, and I'm really encouraging everybody. I know it's a year away, but we really have to take this Queens District Attorney's race very seriously, because there is a good chance that there may be a socialist who may want to challenge the centrist Democrat Melinda Katz, who, again, it seems Melinda Katz is one of the same Democrats just because, remember, her ex-husband, Curtis Lewa, was the Republican mayor, my own nominee for the city. So that's why I think Melinda is purposely trying to form a team in the future, because there's a good chance, knowing that Adams is clearly supporting his best friend Alvin Bragg, that there's a slim chance that maybe Curtis could maybe plan something in the future. I don't know. I mean, Rudy Giuliani was on the sidelines, but while he was on the sidelines, he was getting ready to run again. So who says Curtis Lewa can't run again? Who's to say that? It could happen again.
But says there will be pushback from judges.
In his
Adams spoke highly of him.
I want to
Here we
stop
go.
the fetus of crime and stop the crime that's taking place right now. And I think that D.A. Bragg, who I think is a brilliant district attorney, I think he's going to bring a new flavor. He's going to deal with violent crimes, and we're going to sit down and we're going to be partners together to make it happen.
The police officer.
Oh, man. Eric Adams is turning his back on the people that he claimed that he was going to keep us safe. Wow. Just wow. Eric Adams is already proving that he's acting shady, and he's only 7 days into his job as mayor of New York City.
Officers Union would also like to meet with the district attorney. The Police Benevolent Association's president says he worries the DA is effectively telling criminals there will be no consequences for their crimes. The district attorney's policies go into effect immediately. Louis Finley.
And I will say this, I'm glad Pat Lynch is denouncing this. I'm really glad the PBA is denouncing this, because this is going to encourage criminals. This is going to encourage them. Alright? Bottom line. That's what's going to happen. And I don't want to hear any excuses. Oh, this is good for everyone. No, it's not. No, it's not. Shut up. That's my reaction. So let's talk about this. So now you have Hochul and now you have Adams claiming that they want to work together. They want to be best friends trying to solve the crime. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to do diddly squat right now. So let's watch what Eric Adams has to say. Let's watch the new savior of New York City, as he likes to call himself, Mr. Flamboyant Nightclub Mayor.
I know what life was like in this system as a transit cop and how important it is to give the perception of safety with the actual safety. But I also know that New Yorkers care about the people that use this system. It breaks their hearts to walk past people that are living on a train or experiencing a level of homelessness in this city.
How about getting rid of the Bowery Residents Commission and, I don't know, maybe letting the Guardian Angels do subway patrols? Is it that much to ask? Really?
These new safe options support teams would do just that by helping our homeless New Yorkers access the services they need.
What services? De Blasio cut their funding!
Far too often, those critical periods where people have lost their jobs, lost their homes, or going through some form of healthcare crisis, if you don't reach them at that critical period, it would take a longer investment to turn their lives around, and we want to do so at that critical period.
Here we go again, another all-talk Democrat. Why aren't I surprised? You know, they say they're going to promise to do one thing, and then the next they just don't live up to the hype. They don't live up to their expectations. Alright? They just don't. Okay, here we go. Governor Kathy Hochul promised yesterday that state officials will pay for dozens of new social workers charged with getting homeless New Yorkers off subway trains into shelters. Okay. Governor Hochul made the announcement alongside New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who pledged the NYPD will beef up its patrols underground in a bid to boost rider confidence. Hochul did not provide details about when they would hire or deploy the 5 new teams of 8 to 10 social workers and medical professionals, nor did Eric Adams specify how many cops would be redeployed from desk duty to patrol in the Big Apple's sprawling subway system. Okay. But, yeah, they talk about homeless, but yet they don't want to talk about gun violence. It's like, okay, Adams has talked about gun violence. I will say, on the first day he did. But, again, the way that you're partnering up with Alvin Bragg, I mean, give me a break. So I'm not even going to read any more of this lunacy. They just want to put more cops in the subways. What's that going to do? What's that going to do? The only way we feel safer is if the bail reform law gets, it's abolished. Okay. So let's read some other articles, because I really do not want to waste any more time talking about any more lunatic stories. Alright? Here we go. Man in custody after shooting leaves victim dead in Queens. So here we go. A man is in custody after a shooting in Queens left another man dead on Thursday night. According to police, at 9:57 p.m. last night, Officers responded to a 911 call regarding a man shot at the intersection of 147th Place and Jamaica Avenue. Upon their arrival, police found 19-year-old Cristobal Alfredo Ixquar Mejia with a gunshot wound to his chest. Ixquar Mejia was rushed to Jamaica Hospital where he was pronounced dead. A gun was recovered by police at the scene. 20-year-old Sharice Smith was taken into custody at the scene and was charged with murder, criminal possession of a loaded firearm, criminal possession of a discarded gun, and criminal possession of a firearm. Ongoing investigation. So we have that going on. And then, yeah, here we go. This happened in a restaurant in Brooklyn. Okay, here we go. At around 11:30 a.m. on Wednesday morning, FDNY units respond to a call regarding a fire in the basement of Just, located at 1306 Avenue M. At first, FDNY personnel encountered heavy smoke conditions in the basement and later found a lot of clutter in the basement. Firefighters were able to knock down the fire, which is 2 hose lines. The fire was brought under control by 12:20 p.m. No injuries were reported as a result of the fire, and searches of the basement and restaurant turned up negative. So at least the good news is there were no injuries. But where was NY1? Nowhere to be found as usual. And again, I can't help not calling them Spectrum News. The Channel 1. Remember that. The Channel 1. Okay, what else? So this is interesting. It's actually more details about that shooting that happened at the Dollar Tree. So here we go. So the suspect who is accused of trying to rob the Dollar Tree in Canarsie, the suspect's name has been released. He is 45-year-old Clarence Little of East 102nd Street in Canarsie. The NYPD is charging him with multiple counts of attempted murder, attempted assault, criminal possession of a weapon, resisting arrest, and robbery in the connection. So there you go. Long rap sheet. So this guy better be, taken to jail for a long time. That's where he belongs. Okay, but you know what? This crazy bail reform law, they're going to give more sympathy for him and not the victims. Oh. Yep, that's what happens. That's what Bruce Blakeman in Nassau County has been talking about. I have to refer to a neighboring county east of me to actually knock some sense into a lot of people. I mean, how doesn't this lead to a bigger red wave in New York? Oh, and then look at this. Man sought for pushing an 84-year-old elderly woman to the ground on the Lower East Side. So here we go. 5:20 p.m. on December 11th last month, an unknown man pushed an 84-year-old woman to the ground. It is not clear what caused the suspect to push her to the ground at this time. The victim suffered injuries to her face and back and was taken to NYC Health Bellevue Hospital in stable condition. So, there's that. Look at all this crime NY1 is just ignoring. So let me just take a look. So we're going to read 2 more because I don't want to get too carried away. And then we got to read a story that happened in Queens. 2 suspects flee scene after shooting man in the leg on Brooklyn corner. Police are investigating a shooting that left a man injured in Brooklyn on Thursday afternoon. At 1 p.m. on January 6th, officers respond to a 911 call regarding a man that was shot at Dumont Avenue and Euclid Avenue. Upon their arrival, officers found a 28-year-old man who had been shot in the left leg. The spokesperson for the NYPD said the victim was inside a vehicle parked at the location when he was shot. The victim was taken to nearby Brookdale Hospital in stable condition. 2 unknown men described as black and wearing black jackets were seen fleeing the scene following the shooting. There is no arrest, and there's an ongoing investigation. So, and then there's one more we're gonna read because, actually no, it's 2 more. Yeah, I'm like, let's read these 2 more. I know I had to read a shooting about what happened in the Bronx, so let's read this one. gun-toting crook sought for 7-Eleven robbery in the financial district. I hope this is not the 7-Eleven by Fulton Street. Let's see where this is. Police are searching for a suspect who robbed a financial district 7-Eleven on Monday evening. According to the NYPD, at 6:26 p.m. on January 3rd, an unknown man entered the store at 88 Greenwich Street and pulled out a firearm. He pointed it at the employee in the gun and demanded cash from the register. The suspect took $100 in cash from the register and fled the scene on foot in an unknown direction. No injuries were reported. The NYPD released a photo and video of the suspect taken from the vicinity of the incident location prior to the robbery taking place. So they do have a good look at him. I mean, let's see. He's coming up the escalator, so he's probably in one of the nearby subway stations. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Suspect was last seen wearing black and orange sneakers, looks like beige or gray pants, North Face black jacket, black winter hat, probably looks Hispanic. Can't really make it out from the grinny image, but you can tell this is what's going on, and Eric Adams just wants to sit. Well, he doesn't really want to sit. He's more of like a party guy compared to de Blasio in a sense. Okay, thank goodness this is not the other 7-Eleven. Yeah, I know exactly where this one is. Thank goodness it's not the one by Stock Exchange, because there's another one right by Nassau Street that I know of pretty well. If it was the one on the one by Nassau Street, then I would really get annoyed, because that's where it's right by the Wendy's. Ugh. Okay, so then we're gonna read this one. Homicide in the Bronx. Where was Spectrum News? So here we go. Police are investigating the death of a man who was found shot multiple times in a Bronx apartment building. Authorities say that at 6:44 p.m. Okay, we have an epic fail. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. We're going to have to read from a different article. Bronx apartment shooting. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, we'll have to read from the Post. More accurate. Wow, okay, so this happened yesterday. Alright, this is all adding up. Okay, the victim, Jose Garcia, was shot multiple times in the torso in the 9th floor hallway of NYCHA's Monty Twins Park houses in Belmont at about 6:44 p.m. The victim was sadly taken to St. Barnabas Hospital and was pronounced dead. No arrests were immediately made, and police did not provide any suspect descriptions. It is also unclear what led up to the fatal shooting. So there you go. At least I found a decent article from the Post. And then we're going to read this one. Yeah, I missed this one out. Thanks to a YouTube viewer who gave me a tip about this. Flushing woman facing life in prison for killing a Whitestone man in her bed. That's disturbing. So when did this happen? Wow, so this happened all the way back in September. A Flushing woman has been indicted by a Queens grand jury on murder, burglary, and gun charges for killing a Whitestone man who was discovered dead in her bed back in September. Haiying Dang was arraigned on Monday, January 3rd before Queens Supreme Court Justice Pandon Durant in Kew Gardens on a 9-count indictment after she was extradited from New Mexico after fleeing Queens, when she allegedly shot and killed her boyfriend in the 39th Avenue apartment on September 18th, according to Queens District Attorney Melinda Katz. According to the incident, Dang shot and killed Justin Lee of Whitestone in her bedroom on September 18th, 2021. First responders conducting a wellness check of the 26-year-old victim found him deceased in the defendant's bed. He was bleeding from a single gunshot wound to the head and discovered late in the day after. Alright, so the district attorney says that Dang had fled the scene and was later apprehended in New Mexico a few days later on September 24th after the car she was driving broke down the side of the road. New Mexico state troopers recovered a loaded revolver allegedly from Dang's car, which also had a ballistic match to the bullet recovered in her Flushing bedroom. Dang was also allegedly to be found in the possession of the victim's personal property. So she was held in New Mexico until she could be extradited back to New York City. So here we go. Katz said in the courtroom, the defendant is accused of shooting the victim in the head, then taking his car to flee the state. Gun violence is never the solution. The defendant has been returned to Queens. She is now facing serious charges. And this is good news. Justice Panda Durant ordered Dang to return to court on Thursday, February 3rd in Kew Gardens. If convicted, the suspect faces up to 25 years to life in prison. So this woman's going to go away for a very long time on homicide murder. Thank you, Melinda Katz. You know, as I said, this is why we have to closely pay attention to her this year. Because remember, she's up for re-election next year. Her term is up, so she can run for a second term next year. So, I'm going to say this again. I've said this numerous times. I've been completely wrong about Melinda Katz. She's done a great job as our district attorney here in Queens. She's been very proactive. I think she's living up to the legacy of her predecessor, Richard Brown. So I've been wrong about Melinda Katz. You know, if there's something serious going on here, she's going to get right to it. But, you know, Spectrum News doesn't want to bother covering these stories. What else is news? So I have to cover them as usual. So with that, thank you all very much for watching. You know I'm not going anywhere. And as long as Pine Power LI keeps calling out News 12, you know I'm going to keep calling out Spectrum News. So, thank you all for watching. That's it. Take care.